Welcome back to the channel where we delve deeply into the most startling celebrity tales that leave fans in disbelief and the internet in a frenzy. The entertainment industry has been rocked by today's program, which is about treachery, secrecy, and a love triangle. This is the tale of Pamela Chavez and Jay Manuel. Known as the Golden Couple, they were once praised for their glitzy way of life and supposedly indestructible relationship. Cracks were developing, though, beneath the smiles and red carpet appearances. And soon, those fissures would split. Their union. Jay and Pamela formally separated on October 20, 2025, citing disagreements within the family as the cause. Was it merely a family dispute, though? Or was something more sinister and scandalous taking place behind closed doors? Because Jay was concealing a secret while Pamela was struggling to keep her marriage intact. A $250,000 debt that jeopardized his reputation and career. And there was another woman lurking in the shadows. Anna is her name. Jay and Anna had a covert romance for 3 months. They were seen together at eateries, rumored by admirers, and ultimately revealed by insiders who were unable to deny the reality. Anna was more than a passing fancy. It was her who consented to settle Jay's enormous debt. Jay responded by making the most startling choice of his life. After leaving Pamela and divorcing her, he wed Anna. This is not merely a tale of romance. It has to do with money, treachery, and the decisions people make when they have no other option. Was this marriage a business deal, or was Jay really in love with Anna? Under the garb of romance? What does Pamela think about getting replaced so quickly? The rise and fall of Jay and Pamela's marriage, the secret death that altered everything, and the sensational wedding that has everyone talking will all be revealed in the 10 upcoming chapters. This is going to be a crazy ride, so grab some popcorn. The beginning of every great story is picture perfect. It was a truly spectacular beginning for Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez. Jay, who is renowned for his charm and keen sense of fashion, became well known very fast. Pamela was the ideal complement to him because of her warmth and elegance. They were the pair whom everyone looked up to. The type of people that garnered media attention for their accomplishments and appearances rather than controversies. Their bond was like something out of a fairy tale. They developed a brand around their love, went to premieres together, and posted loving things on social media. The media portrayed them as unstoppable, and their fans loved them. But behind the scenes, things weren't always as flawless as they appeared. Tensions within the family started to surface. According to reports, Pamela's family questioned Jay's financial choices, while Jay thought Pamela's family meddled too much in their personal affairs. Nevertheless, the pair was able to conceal these arguments from the public, preserving their glitzy persona. However, the pressure was increasing. Pamela frequently felt ignored because Jay's career required continual attention. There were rumors that Jay was having financial difficulties, but nothing was verified at the time. Pamela supported him and insisted that their combined strength was greater. They were able to keep the whispers quiet for years. They assured audiences that their love was genuine, smiled for the cameras, and spoke in interviews about their unshakable bond. And perhaps it was, initially at least. However, as we will see in the upcoming chapters, their marriage was already beginning to fall apart. The ideal pair was ready to take on their greatest challenge, and the fairy tale was starting to evaporate. Because even though Pamela thought Jay was concealing something that would ultimately ruin their romance, there are difficulties in every love tale. The difficulties weren't limited to Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez either. They originated with those closest to them. Their marriage first appeared to be unbreakable. Everyone looked up to them as a pair. The man who looked amazing on red carpets and magazine covers. However, family conflicts were subtly simmering beneath the glitz. Pamela's family frequently questioned Jay's financial choices, fearing his way of life was too lavish and unsustainable. They discussed his investments, his spending patterns, and whether Pamela was being pulled into an unwarranted financial crisis. In contrast, Jay felt suffocated. He thought Pamela's relatives meddled too much in their personal affairs, giving them advice on everything from where they ought to reside to how they ought to bring up their kids. Jay saw it as control rather than advice. Additionally, the more Jay felt alone, the more Pamela relied on her family. Arguments started to emerge. Small arguments over holidays or family get-togethers turned into furious arguments. Jay desired freedom, while Pamela desired peace. Their once ideal relationship was now torn between their commitment to one another and their family. The aspect of their marriage was hidden from the media. On the outside, Jay and Pamela were still going to events together, posting loving pictures, and grinning for the cameras. However, the tension was noted by insiders. According to close acquaintances, Jay appeared preoccupied, as though he was carrying a weight he couldn't communicate, while Pamela frequently appeared worn out. Naturally, there was more to that load than just family strife. Jay had not yet told Pamela about his enormous $250,000 debt, which he was concealing. The family conflicts were exacerbated by the pressure to keep that a secret. Jay felt the walls closing in each time Pamela's family members questioned his capacity to make ends meet. Pamela attempted to grasp the union of marriage. She supported Jay whenever her family members chastised him because she thought love could triumph over family meddling. But already the fissures were appearing. There was a decline in trust. I was running out of patience. And the ideal pair was starting to fall apart. In retrospect, a lot of admirers claim that this was the pivotal moment. The family conflicts went beyond simple disagreements. They were the first obvious indications that Jay and Pamela's marriage was about to fall apart. Additionally, Jay was already there while Pamela battled to keep their love safe. Slipping into secrecy, concealing not just his debt but also the start of a world-altering relationship. Because Jay was discreetly establishing a relationship with someone else who would eventually emerge from the shadows and replace Pamela while she was dealing with family problems. Every storm peaks at some point. And the day their marriage formally ended, October 20th, 2025, was the pinnacle for Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez. They had battled to maintain their relationship for years. Pamela thought that love might overcome gossip from strangers, family conflicts, and financial strain. But Jay had a secret burden. His growing dependence on someone else and his mounting debt. The rifts that started with family meddling had grown into a chasm too deep to mend, and the tension between them had become intolerable. Fans were horrified to learn of the divorce. Family disagreements were listed as the reason on paper. In contrast to the reality, it sounded straightforward, almost every day. However, insiders were aware that this was more than just disputes with family members. This involved decisions Pamela never anticipated, deception, and secrecy. Pamela was inconsolable. She had supported Jay despite criticism, shielded him from her family's skepticism, and thought their relationship was resilient. However, she discovered that Jay had already moved on emotionally when the divorce papers were completed. He wasn't simply abandoning her. He was getting ready to take her position. The media frenzy started right away. The news screamed about the conclusion of the golden couple. Social media was inundated with sadness, incredulity, and conjecture from fans. Pamela's family was accused by some of meddling excessively. Jay was accused by some of being self-centered and pursuing freedom rather than defending his marriage. The reality, however, was much more nuanced. Jay wasn't simply leaving Pamela. Anna had been waiting silently in the shadows, and he was approaching her. The woman who previously consented to settle his $250,000 debt, as well as the woman who had been surreptitiously attending his dinners, having talks and love with him for 3 months. Pamela was left to pick up the pieces in the meanwhile. She had to deal with the public humiliation of being replaced so soon in addition to the personal sorrow of betrayal. Despite her heartbreak, friends said she was strong and determined not to let the scandal define her. But the wounds from that October day would never go away. The divorce marked more than just the dissolution of a marriage. It was the start of a scandal. A controversy that would reveal Anna's involvement and Jay's secrets. of his life, and the reality of the flawless facade that had deceived admirers for so long. The day that Jay and Pamela's fairy tale officially fell apart will always be October 20th, 2025. However, Jay also used that day to lay the groundwork for a new chapter in his life. One that would astonish everyone even more. Because Jay was already organizing a wedding while Pamela was in mourning. There may be a gloom behind every glitzy smile. That shadow was a startling $250,000 debt for Jay Manuel. He held a secret like a ticking clock. Time bomb. Jay seemed successful, self-assured, and untouchable to the general public. He appeared to have it all because to his charisma, sense of style, and prominence in the entertainment industry. But behind the surface, he was being subtly consumed by financial difficulties. The debt was more than a minor error. His marriage, job, and reputation were all in danger of collapsing due to this mountain. Pamela Chavez was unaware of the extent of the issue. She was aware that Jay was anxious, preoccupied, and frequently aloof. However, she thought it was the pressure of celebrity. She was unaware that Jay was concealing unfulfilled commitments, unsuccessful investments, and past due payments. Jay experienced the sting of reality each time Pamela's family questioned his capacity to make ends meet. He was afraid of being discovered, and they were, music, correct. In their marriage, the debt turned into a quiet third party. It pushed Jay into seclusion, fueled conflicts, and fostered estrangement. He was unable to force himself to tell Pamela the truth, worrying that she would think he was weak or careless. Rather, he bore the weight by himself, acting as though nothing was wrong as the walls around him. Then Anna arrived. Anna wasn't merely a covert romantic partner. Jay's lifeline was her. She didn't pass judgment on Jay when he told her about the debt. Rather, she proposed an answer. She would reimburse it. The prospect of financial independence was seductive. For Jay, love was no longer the only factor. It was a matter of survival. Anna's readiness to take. He had a way out thanks to his $250,000 debt. An opportunity to get away from the storm that had plagued him for years. Everything altered because of this choice. All of a sudden, Jay saw Anna as the solution to his issues as well as a loving companion. Anna's financial rescue now eclipsed Pamela, who had supported him during family conflicts. Jay's allegiance changed as the scales tipped. There was more to the debt than just the figures. It was the impetus behind his marriage's demise. He was forced into concealment and into Anna's arms, and finally resulted in the world-shocking divorce. Pamela's already damaged heart will be further shattered by the revelation of the debt later on. It was the driving force behind Jay's most contentious life decision to divorce Pamela and wed Anna. There is a turning point in every scandal. And Jay Manuel gave that pivotal moment a name, Anna. Anna had been a shadow in the corner of Jay's life, a murmur in the background, for months. Anna was quietly becoming into the person Jay relied on while Pamela Chavez struggled to keep their marriage intact. She did not belong to the glitzy public persona. She didn't appear in glossy magazines or be shot on red carpets. However, Jay's deepest secrets were only known to Anna behind closed doors. They started dating in secret. Initially, there were only talks, private encounters, late-night discussions, and consoling moments when Jay felt overburdened by his family and debt. Disagreements. However, those discussions soon evolved into something more. In private, Jay and Anna became inseparable in a few weeks, dining together at establishments they believed no one would see. People did notice, of course. Although fans reported seeing Jay multiple times in various eateries, he wasn't by himself. Anna was with him. There were murmurs after the sightings. There were rumors that Jay was unfaithful, but nothing was verified at the time. However, as the evidence grew, insiders started to believe that Anna was more than merely a friend. Anna's willingness to settle Jay's $250,000 debt strengthened her position in his life. It was an emotional decision in addition to a financial one. It demonstrated to Jay that Anna was prepared to make a sacrifice in order to shield him from the storm that could have ruined his career. It was intoxicating to Jay. For years, Pamela had supported him, but Anna provided something that Pamela was unable to. Instant deliverance. There was more to this than romanticism. It was survival. And Jay, frantically trying to get away from the burden of his debt and the Anna became his lifeline due to the ongoing family conflicts. Meanwhile, Pamela was unaware of the extent of the treachery. She thought Jay was aloof due to family strife, preoccupied with job, and anxious over money. She was unaware that another woman had already taken her place. Anna was no longer a secret by the time the divorce papers were completed. She represented the future. It wasn't just love that led Jay to choose to wed her. It was about thankfulness, devotion, and the prospect of a new begin. Everything changed with Anna's appearance. She was more than simply the secret girlfriend. It was she who completely upended Jay's life. The reason Pamela's fairy tale fell apart and the impetus for the controversy that would grab headlines. Anna was no longer hiding in the shadows after this. She took center stage. Scandals rarely remain undiscovered for long. Secrecy was both Manuel and Anna's greatest strength and weakness. Jay and Anna were together for 3 months. Continued their relationship in the dark. They weren't careless, but they also weren't unnoticeable. Fans started to take notice. Jay was seen at various restaurants in various cities, but not with Pamela. Anna was with him. The sightings appeared innocuous at first. A late-night coffee run, a relaxed supper, and a peaceful corner table. However, the regularity sparked curiosity. Why was Jay hanging out with this enigmatic woman so much? And why didn't Pamela ever accompany him? Whispers got around fast. Social posts stating Jay had been spotted with someone fresh went viral on social media. While some fans claimed to have proof, others wrote it off as rumors. Pictures started to go around. Hazy, fuzzy images of Jay sitting across from Anna, laughing, leaning in close, and sharing moments that were too personal to be innocent. The gossip intensified. Rumor had it that Anna was more than a buddy. It was she who had consented to settle Jay's $250,000 debt. All of a sudden, there was more to the narrative than romance. It has to do with survival. Betrayal and a covert agreement that clarified Jay's apparent devotion to her. Meanwhile, Pamela remained in the dark. She assumed that Jay's absences were caused by stress, his late nights by work, and his diversions by family conflicts. However, the reality was much more agonizing. Jay was secretly constructing a new marriage as she fought to keep theirs intact. People started to make the connections. The October 20th, 2025, divorce notice no longer appeared to be a straightforward family conflict. It appeared to be the unavoidable outcome of 3 months of dinners, whispers, and secret times with Anna. The danger of exposure no longer mattered to Jay. His decision was already made. Anna was more than simply a romantic partner. His future lay with her. And the reality became more indisputable the more people witnessed them together. Music. The speculations had turned into a reality by the time the divorce was finalized. Jay and Anna had emerged from the shadows as more than a murmur. They were the scandal that everyone was talking about. Discussing. A marriage had been ruined by 3 months of secrets, which also sparked a media frenzy and prepared the ground for the most unexpected turn of all, Jay's choice to wed Anna. There are multiple viewpoints on every scandal. Additionally, Pamela Chavez's tale won many over, even if Jay Manuel's decisions dominated the news. Pamela was distraught when the divorce was completed on October 20th, 2025. She had supported Jay through family conflicts, shielded him from criticism, and thought their love was resilient enough to endure anything. However, the reality struck her like a tidal wave. Jay had not abandoned her. He had already made up his mind. Pamela's grief was evident and unadulterated. She was broken but strong, according to friends. A woman who was caught off guard by betrayal but was determined not to let it ruin her. After fighting for and making sacrifices for their marriage, she found out that Jay had been leading a parallel life. The public supported her. Social media burst with fury, sympathy, and support messages. Fans turned Pamela's suffering into a movement by posting hashtags like #Justice4PA and #TeamPamela. Jay was accused by many of being self-centered and of leaving behind a devoted wife in order to save money. Anna was attacked by others who called her the home wrecker who had taken Pamela's position. Pamela maintained her dignity. She refrained from openly expressing her anger, engaging in mudslinging, and attempting to damage Jay's reputation. Rather, she said quietly, addressing her sadness, acknowledging that the betrayal was agonizing, but resolutely stating that she would find strength in going on. The audience adored her even more because of her calm grace. But Pamela suffered behind the scenes. It was devastating to learn that Jay had been having an affair with Anna for 3 months. Jay and Anna's every meal, giggle, and private conversation was a knife to her heart. Additionally, Anna's agreement to settle Jay's $250,000 debt gave Pamela the impression that her love had been supplanted by money, and marriage had become a business. Pamela was portrayed by the media as being the victim of a sensational love triangle. She was, in many respects. She was more than that, though. She came to represent tenacity and a lesson that dignity and fortitude can prevail despite betrayal. Retaliation was not at the heart of Pamela's story. It was a matter of survival. It was about restoring her voice after being silenced, about regaining her identity after being supplanted, about demonstrating to the world that tragedy changes you rather than defines you. Jay saw the divorce as a step in the direction of Anna. It was the start of a difficult yet empowering journey for Pamela. It was also evident to the general population. Pamela wasn't the only one who experienced heartbreak. It was the property of everyone who had ever had faith in love only to see it fail. There comes a moment of truth in every scandal. The moment when decisions must be taken and secrets can no longer be kept. That time for Jay Manuel arrived. Following months of concealment, growing debt and rumors of treachery, his longtime partner, Pamela Chavez, supported him during family conflicts and stood up for him when he was criticized. However, Jay's allegiance had changed by the end of 2025. The balance was tipped by the weight of his $250,000 debt and Anna's assurance of salvation. Jay realized he couldn't go back from what had started off as a covert relationship that had turned into a lifeline. Making the choice wasn't simple. Jay was aware of the repercussions. The general public indignation, Pamela's heartache, and the ruin of his well-constructed persona. But the decision seemed obvious to him. Anna was more than simply a romantic partner. It was she who had extended the offer of independence to him. She had listened to him when he talked about his financial difficulties, consoled him when he felt stuck, and eventually consented to settle the debt that plagued him. Pamela, however, stood for the past, a marriage burdened by disagreements, mistrust, and family meddling. Jay persuaded himself that Anna was the future he needed, that their love had already waned, and that the divorce was unavoidable. Jay's close friends characterized him as conflicted but resolute. He was aware that the criticism would be harsh, but he thought Anna's help would keep him safe. He saw marriage to Anna as more than just romance. It was about beginning anew, being thankful, and surviving. Supporters of Pamela had a different perspective. They saw Jay's choice as the epitome of betrayal, leaving a faithful wife behind in order to save money. Criticism on social media erupted, portraying Jay as opportunistic and self-centered. Jay, though, remained steadfast. Nothing could stop him from following the course he had already chosen. The real turning point came when Jay made the decision to wed Anna. His marriage to Pamela wasn't the only thing that ended. It marked the start of a scandal that would shape his reputation. Jay's decision to choose Anna bound him not just to the controversy but also to the lady who had saved him money. It would come after both of them. Jay's choice proved disastrous for Pamela. It was a form of affirmation for Anna. Additionally, it demonstrated to the general public that betrayal, money, and love can all intersect in unexpected ways. Jay had made up his mind. The world would soon see the wedding that would permanently cement his decision to choose Anna over Pamela. Following months of betrayal, rumors, and secrecy, Jay. It was the most startling thing Manuel had ever done. Anna was his wife. The wedding was not a lavish event with a lot of flashing cameras, as well as famous visitors. Rather, it was a meticulously orchestrated spectacle that was intended to make a statement while avoiding the media. Jay was aware that everyone was observing and that every aspect of the ritual would be closely examined. In order to cement his new future with Anna, yet he persisted. The suffering was unbearable for Pamela Chavez. She had been Jay's wife only a few weeks prior, battling to keep their marriage intact while escalating family conflicts and concealing financial difficulties. She was now observing from the sidelines as Jay and the woman who had taken her place stood at the altar. It was more than simply an emotional betrayal. It was permanent and open to the public. On the other hand, Anna exuded assurance. She wasn't merely in love when she married Jay. As the woman who had saved him by agreeing to settle his $250,000 debt, she was getting married to him. In Jay's life, Anna had cemented her position. There was more to the wedding than just a love affair. It was the result of an agreement that combined survival and love. The ceremony was described by the guests as tense but intimate. The atmosphere was one of both happiness and worry. Everyone was aware of the couple's scandal. Everyone was aware of Pamela's suffering. Everyone was aware that there was more to this marriage than romance. It had to do with the decisions Jay had made to get away from his past. The media responded right away. The headlines shouted, "Pamela Chavez and Anna, Jay Manuel marries covert girlfriend, left in a startling divorce." Social media was ablaze with incredulity, pity, and indignation. Some admirers charged Jay with. Some defended his right to start afresh, while others accused him of betraying Pamela for financial gain. As the person who saved Jay's money but also took him away from his wife, Anna was portrayed as both a hero and a monster. The wedding marked a new beginning for Jay. He saw Anna as a symbol of loyalty, stability, and a future free from family strife and debt. However, that was the last blow for Pamela. The official turning point in her marriage into a controversy that would follow her for the rest of her life. It was more than just a connection during the wedding. It was a pivotal moment. It signaled the conclusion of the fairy tale between Jay and Pamela, the start of the contentious romance between Jay and Anna, and the realization that love alone isn't always sufficient. Sometimes the vows are written by survival. Although Jay Manuel and Anna's marriage solidified their union, it also unleashed a storm that neither of them could totally control. The fallout was swift, severe, and unrelenting. There was a sharp difference in public opinion. There were some on one side who thought Jay had wronged Pamela Chavez by leaving behind a devoted wife in order to save money. They viewed Anna as the lady who had purchased her way into Jay's life rather than as a rescuer. Those who supported Jay, on the other hand, contended that Anna had only given him the opportunity to start over, that love is complex, and that debt can ruin relationships. The scandal was exploited by the media. Every detail was examined in the headlines. The 3 months of covert romance, the $250,000 debt, the October 20th, 2025, divorce date, and the rumors of betrayal. Talk. There was disagreement over whether Jay and Anna's marriage was sincere or merely a business arrangement. With hashtags like #Team Pamela and #Joe and Dana dominating at the same time, social media turned into a battlefield. In the meantime, Pamela became the story's silent hero. She gained respect all throughout the world for maintaining her dignity in the face of grief. She refrained from attacking, pursuing retribution, or attempting to damage Jay's reputation. Rather, she concentrated on recovery, displaying fortitude that struck a chord with followers who viewed her as a representation of resiliency. But Jay and Anna had to deal with a different reality. Their marriage started out tainted by controversy, with every action being closely watched. Every meal, public appearance, and smile was examined for indications of genuineness. Did Jay really fall in love? Or was he just appreciative that Anna had saved his money? Was Anna Jay's loving partner or a calculated fix for his issues? The controversy grew beyond a tale involving three individuals. It turned into a cultural discussion on love, survival, money, and allegiance. Fans were compelled to reevaluate their views on relationships and whether or not betrayal can actually be justified by financial difficulties. The fallout was a test for Jay. Could he silence the criticism, restore his reputation, and demonstrate his love for Anna? After being replaced, Pamela had to restore her identity, which was a journey of self-discovery. Living in the spotlight and knowing that she would always be known as the lady who made all the difference was a strain for Anna. The tale of Pamela, Jay, and the wedding wasn't the end for Anna. It marked the start of a new chapter full of uncertainties, and the lingering shadow of treachery. Thus, this dramatic tale comes to a close with a marriage shattered, a hidden debt exposed, and a new partnership formed amid controversy. However, there are more unanswered issues after reading about Jay Manuel, Pamela Chavez, and Anna. Was Jay's marriage to Anna motivated more by survival than by true love? Was he purchased by Anna or was he saved? Additionally, what regarding Pamela? Was she only the victim of treachery, or did she have more strength for leaving with honor? The public might never be in agreement. Jay will always be viewed as self-centered by others. He will appear desperate to others. While some will see Anna as a manipulator, others will see her as a savior. As well as Pamela. She will always be known as the woman who persevered through heartache. Even as Jay left, she remained erect, demonstrating that treachery can lead to strength. Jay, on the other hand, chose Anna for survival as well as love. And the woman Anna, who emerged from the shadows and was perceived by the public as both a hero and a villain. However, what are your thoughts? Given the crippling weight of his $250,000 debt, was Jay right to leave Pamela? Did Anna's financial salvation turn their marriage into a business deal, or did it make her the real partner? Was Jay's secrecy the true reason for the collapse, or should Pamela's family conflicts be held accountable? Above all, is this a tale of love, treachery, or survival? The solutions aren't straightforward. And perhaps that's why this story had such a profound impact. It compels us to face hard realities about loyalty, finances, and relationships. It serves as a reminder that there may be darkness hidden behind every glitzy smile. This is the unsung tale of Jay and Pamela and Anna's ascent, and it makes us think, what would we do if faced with the same choices? A story that will be remembered for years to come about a scandal, secrets, and lost love. It's your time now. Leave a comment below with your opinions. Act. Do you support Anna, Pamela, or Jay? Whose narrative do you trust, and whose decisions do you comprehend? Because this is ultimately a reflection of our own story, not just theirs. Thus, the story of Jay Manuel, Anna, and Pamela Chavez comes to an end. Family conflicts, secrecy, and an unreported $250,000 debt caused a once-celebrated marriage to fall apart. What started out as rumors in dining establishments developed into a controversy that rocked fans all around the world. Heartbroken but dignified, Pamela became the embodiment of resiliency. Even as Jay left, she remained erect, demonstrating that treachery can lead to strength. Jay, on the other hand, chose Anna for survival as well as love. And the public saw Anna, the lady who emerged from the shadows, as both a hero and a criminal. However, this is not where the narrative ends. We are left with unanswered questions long after the headlines have faded. Was love really at the heart of Jay and Anna's marriage? Or was it a desperate transaction? Did Anna purchase her or did she save him? Enter his life? Should Pamela's family conflicts be held accountable? Or was the real reason for collapse Jay's secrecy? Above all, is this a tale of love, treachery, or survival? There may never be clear answers. But one thing is for sure, this incident will go down as one of the most shocking turns in the history of celebrities. It makes us face hard realities about money, loyalty, and the decisions people make when they are in a tight spot. It's your time now. Talk about your ideas in the remarks that follow. Which do you support, Anna, Pamela, or Jay? Whose decisions do you comprehend? Whose account do you trust? This isn't just their narrative, after all. It reflects who we are. Additional updates. The first reality show to include a black trans man with a disability is Jay and Pamela. Season 2 of Jay and Pamela. Has it already been renewed by TLC? Date of release and all the details. What is the state of the Jay and Pamela stars on TLC? Pamela and Jay get older. What is the age of the new TLC celebrity couple? I will provide an explanation of everything. Television is being transformed by the show that Jay and Pamela host. The show, which airs on TLC every Tuesday at October 9th, focuses on Jay Thomas Manuel and his partner Pamela Chavez. They are a couple and the newest members of the TLC family. Both of them suffer from perfecta type 3, a disorder that makes bones brittle, and otogenesis. Even when they are just walking, their frail bones are likely to break. Consequently, motorized wheelchairs are used. Pamela and Jay are already weak due to their lack of collagen. Collagen is essential for both the production of new tissues and the upkeep of a robust body. They yet continue to work in spite of their restrictions. After meeting online, Jay and Pamela dated for over a year. The next step for Pamela was to move in with Jay and his family. They did, in fact, exchange vows. They might also be able to conceive a child, if all goes as planned. Thus far, they have a dog and are recording the past. There are many things that Jay and Pamela are unable to do, but all they want is to be ordinary people. Not long ago, they went grocery shopping. Jay says that things are constantly beyond their reach. As a result, they always carry a stick. They may or may not receive help from the people in their lives at different times. Pamela always thought onions were very heavy when she tried to eat them. However, the two made every effort to buy everything on the list. Pamela even went to get some chicken, but she couldn't see it because it was so far up. Finally, with some help, they completed their shopping. To the best of our knowledge, Jay and Pamela are the only couple to have ever been featured in a reality TV show. The show has made history as the first reality show to star a black transgender man with a disability. Pamela is a gay Mexican American, and Jay is a trans black man. A disability unites them. After meeting online, they bonded over common interests and objectives. Their defect won't go away. Jay and Pamela from making the most of their lives. Jay is a professional content developer, evangelist, and producer who goes by the alias Tiny Producer. Being the first transgender man of African heritage to lead a reality show, he knocks down barriers. He is the lead. Growing up, I didn't perceive people like myself as leaders. Jay expressed his desire to change the plot. Jay is committed to improving how LGBTQ+ and disability identities are portrayed in the media. For him, the show is more than just a series. It's an opportunity to shine. Jay is also very good at advocating for people with disabilities. Being with Pamela, an LGBT lady, makes him proud. She is a first-generation Mexican American and an advocate for individuals with disabilities. They both have similar aspirations when it comes to stardom. Their personal life remains unaffected even when one of them is ill. They desire a normal existence, just like everyone else. They say we want to have children and enjoy life. Y had fractured almost 400 bones between the two of them. It is seen as a lifelong condition because they have been managing their illnesses since birth. People with Y often experience repeated bone fractures due to the fragility of their bones. Television shows underrepresent people of identity, especially those on the LGBTQ+ spectrum. TLC has already renewed Jay and Pamela Season 2. Date of release and all the details. Fans of Jay and Pamela could never hope for the next season. More. The TLC program hosted by Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez drew viewers from throughout the country. After Season 1, everyone is cheering them on. In the pilot, they were presented as a disabled couple with a rare and incurable form of brittle bone disease. Jay and Pamela both have disabilities from birth. Their parents have been told that they will only live for a maximum of 1 to 5 years. Fortunately, fate has other plans for them. The pair had already met before to the start of the series, and get involved. They stayed away from the trolls because they wanted their wedding to be genuinely unforgettable. When will there be more produced by TLC? TLC expands its lineup with new shows every year. Jay and Pamela, this year's episode, gave viewers the impression that it was about 2 young children. That's not all, though. According to the show's summary, Pamela and Jay went about their daily lives together in a touching story. The first subject discussed in that episode was osteogenesis and perfect type 1I. No other TLC show, other from Jay and Pamela, has discussed the illness in more length. It is a complex condition with several manifestations. It causes thin bones to become extremely brittle and readily fractured, albeit not all varieties of the sickness were addressed. This explains why 400 reality stars have suffered bone fractures thus far. Jay winds up in the hospital most of the time. Pamela has lung issues as a result of scoliosis. Jay and Pamela was one of the most watched shows on TLC lately. Supporters are pleading with the network to give it a second season renewal. The station chose to terminate the show after the series final, which included the couple's wedding, aired. After numerous difficulties, the pair eventually got married. Jay and Pamela had been looking forward to their wedding as the bride and groom. They never really experienced the day they dreamed about. To get here, they put in 5 years of hard labor. They are eager to tell their loved ones about their new union and greet visitors as husband and wife. Despite her parents' opposition to the marriage, Pamela was the one who married Jay. Internet surfers can't wait to get their fix for season 2. With an increase in viewers, they may return for the upcoming season on TLC. As a result, the renewal has probably already been completed. TLC hasn't yet revealed the fantastic news. Furthermore, Pamela and Jay have not provided any updates about the fans' plans. However, because the concert just ended, they are still in the works. The announcement will depict the happy couple's current lives. They will have difficulties because life isn't always easy, which will lead to more family conflict. What ailment affects the Jay and Pamela stars on TLC? Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez, 2 recent celebrities, will share their tales on TLC. They were born with a rare genetic disease in common. Jay and Pamela's premiere is scheduled for Tuesday, March 4th. On TLC, the program will examine Chavez and Manuel's limitations and how they deal with them on a daily basis. Scroll down to view all of the data we currently have. Both Manuel and Chavez suffer from osteogenesis imperfecta type 3, a brittle bone disorder. According to the National Organization for Rare Diseases, OI is a hereditary condition marked by reduced bone mass, increased bone fragility, and a propensity for bone fractures. Manuel stated in an episode teaser that we're both little people. Chavez. Manuel was told he wouldn't live past the age of 5 and wasn't even expected to turn 1. Manuel says the group has suffered over 400 bone fractures, and it may be as easy as rolling out of bed. In a scene from the premiere of Jay and Pamela, a doctor suggests that the two take more calcium. The condition osteogenesis imperfecta is linked to an increased risk of blood clots. According to the doctor, problems with wound healing are more likely to arise. Due to a person with scoliosis may have a comparatively small lung volume. Usually, lung issues are the primary cause of death. Unfortunately, that may result in the formation of a blood clot, which may subsequently spread to the lungs and destroy them. Although Chavez pointed out that their heights are somewhat questionable, Manuel stated, "We're both 3 feet 4 inches and tall." Chavez claimed that her partner is truly 3 feet 3 inches. "It doesn't matter either way since we're short," Manuel said. According to a series news release, the happy couple lives with Manuel's parents in Atlanta, Georgia, and is currently residing in the home's renovated basement while they search for a permanent residence on the TLC show. Because they use power chairs, it can be difficult to find a suitable space, and they hope to eventually move out of the basement and get their own apartment, but they are unable to agree on where it should be. Pamela is The decision to move out is fully supported by us. As Manuel's father, Rafael, said in another segment from the show, "If we aren't there, what if something were to happen to them? For that, I feel terrible for them." Jay is happy to stay in the suburbs, but as disabled power chair users, it turns out to be more difficult than anticipated to find any venue that suits their demands. Jay and Pamela chronicle their wedding preparations. Called Manuel her soon-to-be husband in an Instagram photo from January 2024. There has been no update on their whereabouts as of yet. One of Shaviv's January 2025 photos shows Manuel wearing a ring on his left hand. Jay and Pamela age. With every new episode of TLC's Jay and Pamela, viewers want to know more about Jay Manuel and Pamela Chavez, including their age. Despite their cute appearance together, the two have had osteogenesis and perfected type 3 from birth. Because of their rare inherited brittle bone condition, Pamela and Jay were more susceptible to bone fractures due to the condition's impact on their bone density. Despite these challenges, they never allowed themselves to become depressed. They moved from Jay's parents' basement flat to their new home with joy, and as their wedding day approaches, they are eager to say I do to each other. In the midst of it, they went shopping for their dog Cheddar in order to. She doesn't disagree with him in any way, despite the fact that he made fun of their lives. Jay and Pamela are a great match because of their different personalities. They are bound together by their shared jokes and laughter. Since the first episode, the two have been very open about their private evenings. Jay, a trans man, and Pamela, a gay woman, met online. The TLC stars recently called their sex life untamed. When they are in the bedroom, they go too far. Jay once used an. The Jay and Pamela series is becoming more and more popular on TLC with every new episode, but the network first introduced them by showing their ages and the age difference between them in the trailer and the first episode. In reality, Jay is 28 years old and his partner, Pamela, is 30. She encouraged him to roll in a hay, which caused him to feel back pain. He recalled. Jay revealed that he used medicine to fully heal, which saddened Pamela. Additionally, Jay and Pamela are not the same height, but since they are both small people, it isn't much to make it clear that they both fall into the 34 category. He is 3 feet 3 inches, and she is 3 feet 4 inches. They have already suffered 400 bone fractures from excessive strain, and their limitations limit how much physical effort they can put forth. As Pamela described their condition to the cameras. Despite her shorter lifespan, Jay and Pamela persevered through all the challenges. The reality stars are dedicated to succeeding in both their romantic and professional lives. They had already spent 5 years together after being in a long-distance relationship in the beginning. Pamela left Missouri and moved to Georgia when it was no longer possible for her to live. Her parents were told that she wouldn't live past the age of 5 and would die before turning 1 year old, according to another doctor. No more today. What are your thoughts on this rumor? Please share in the comments below and subscribe to our channel to receive future updates like this one. Thank you.